Getting your kids to help in the kitchen is a great way to teach life skills and bond with your family. And here with some safety tips for parents is Andre Eng from the House of Knives, and he has brought his trusty assistant, Brandon, 9-year-old Brandon. Thank you for coming in, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
So I actually really like this topic because it's something I really have been considering. My boys are 10 and 6.
Yeah.
I kind of trust my 10-year-old with a knife. In a supervised setting. My 6-year-old, not so much. But when do you start introducing using knives?
Yeah, it really, like anything else, varies on the individual in terms of their maturity. My kids started when they're about 8, 9. You know, there's several keys to doing it because using a knife is a life skill, right? We all need to eat, and you know, everyone can argue what cooking defined is, right? A lot of people, it's just throwing something in the microwave and hitting the button. But healthy eating starts with using the right tools.
Right.
So we have kind of 5 steps that we talk about in terms of making sure you're successful with it. Number 1 is making sure you've got the right cutting surface. You don't want something too hard that will dull the knife or something too soft that won't allow the knife to glide. Secondary to that is about the knife size and style to use.
For a small person, a smaller knife, I would imagine?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, size and control, so something smaller, more compact. But one of the things, we've got lots of different styles in front of us. So typically, the 8-inch cook's knife is most versatile, most chefs will use. But for someone small or learning out, I suggest something more of a 6-inch size. So
even that looks big to me.
Yeah, so here's something funny. A lot of people instinctively would choose the smaller blade to use.
Yes, I probably would.
But there's a lot of downfalls to this. When you have a narrow blade like this, the downfall is when you're cutting, your knuckles actually hit on the cutting board. As you can see here, only about half the blade makes contact with the cutting board. Where you want something wide enough blade that has some knuckle clearance to it. Okay. So Brendan's gonna, so I'm gonna show Brendan the third most important thing. This is for adults too. People don't hold the knife correctly. So there's what they call a hammer grip, where you hold it like a hammer, or a proper technique is what we call a pinch grip. So Brendan's displaying that as you see there. So it gives you more control with the knife and brings the blade closer to your hand here.
And I see that Brandon's wearing a glove.
Yeah, these are indispensable. We sell these in our stores for $15. It's a good insurance policy.
That scares me when you do that. So you're literally putting the blade against your glove and you don't feel it.
He thinks that's so cool.
It's so cool.
Good for fishermen or anyone working in the kitchen.
It's a good trick.
It's a safe way. The next most important thing is what to do with your hand that supports the food. So this one here, you want to have a claw style, but tuck that thumb behind here. And you want to basically use that width of the blade to glide against your knuckles. So Brendan, do you want to demonstrate and show how we're going to cut that celery?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to cut it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yep.
And I would not trust my child to do this without that glove.
It's amazing, right? It's hard to find family activities that everyone can do together that don't involve, you know, tablets or electronics.
Right.
So cooking together as a family is a great way to do it. So he's doing a great technique there where he's rolling forward with that knife. And once you get proficient with it, you're basically resting that blade of the knife against that knuckle and you work very
Right. I've never done that. I've learned something too. And I chop a lot.
So, you know, celery.
You did such a good job on that.
Yeah, so celery is one of the many things that you can do. Like Brennan, I was surprised last week was the first time he had actually used a knife, and already his mom's like, you know, he's so excited, come home from school and help prepare and chop something. Doesn't matter what it is.
And do you recommend certain, you know, is celery a good starter food to start chopping? You know, I mean, other things that are
celery,
trickier?
carrots. You know, Brennan here was able to, you know, if you're making a stew or something or even soup, you know, Brennan even had never used a vegetable peeler before. You want to try that, Brennan? Right. He's so excited, right? And maybe it's a boy thing. You just like to see anything that has instant gratification, right?
Right.
It's like, wow,
I remember being excited to peel the carrots when I was a kid too.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really key and essential is, again, whether you're a child or an adult, is making sure the knife is sharp. So we're using real knives here. And a lot of people, if you search YouTube, use plastic knives. And that actually doesn't give a fair indication of how the knife should work. And as the saying goes, a sharp knife is a safe knife. So, you know, it's important that a knife actually is sharp.
And you just use that sharpener and just run it a couple of times across it?
The steel is most commonly used by chefs and butchers to help maintain a knife. But this style of sharpener, I recommend, and a lot of people prefer this just because it's easy. Like Brendan had no problems doing it. You just hold your knife straight and basically just hold it straight and draw it through there, and this helps hone the edge.
And just one time?
Depends on dullness of the knife. Sometimes it can be several times, sometimes it can be just a couple times.
And I would imagine always supervise your kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as safety goes, like Brendan did a great job peeling this carrot. So Brendan, you remember what's the first thing we do before we start cutting this carrot?
Put it flat.
Flat. So I taught Brendan here, whenever you're working with something, great. So when you're working with whether it be potatoes or carrots, round things that roll around, that's a safety issue. So you always want to stabilize your food. So what Brennan did here was do a quick cut to flatten it. So he's got a flat surface here to work with. So now it's not going to roll around.
And that makes it much easier.
Yeah. Brennan, do you want to show how you can cut that up as if we're making stew?
That's awesome. Brandon, you actually taught me some stuff. Thank you so much for coming in. And thank you, Andre.
Yeah, our pleasure.
I'm going to do this with my boys.
Yeah, all that extra time you'll gain, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make them cook all the time now. Thanks a lot for coming.
Okay,
We'll
thank
take
you.
a quick break. We'll be right back.
Yeah!